Welcome back to the night class. Today we're going to factor some quadratics and use that factoring to solve them. All right, so lesson 9.2. First thing you have to know is the zero product property. Okay, this is a basic property that a lot of people, I don't know, they get mixed up or whatever. How do you multiply two numbers and get zero for your answer?
Multiply by zero.
Is there any way you can multiply any two numbers and get zero without one of the numbers being zero?
No.
Okay, so knowing that, when you're multiplying these two parentheses, and notice they equal what? Zero. So according to the zero product property, one of these parentheses must be what? Zero. Do you know which one's zero? No. Therefore, you have to assume both. Okay? And all you do, these are factors. Yes? Okay? You take your factors, and I'm going to say x minus 9. It might equal 0. And 5x plus 2 might equal 0. And I work those problems. So when it's just a normal number, it's pretty easy. X is going to equal what? 9. This one, a little more work to it. Subtract 2 from both sides. And then divide by 5. So the solution to this problem is two solutions, 9 and negative 2/5. Okay? If you were to graph this, where would it cross the x-axis? At 9 and negative 2/5. Okay? So even if it says to do it by factoring, you can still check it with graphing. Okay? And make sure you get the right answer. Is everybody with me so far? That's it. Okay? So for the rest of the time, we're going to be doing the same thing. Now, they start off, they're giving us the factors. We will progress to where we have to factor them and then set it equal to 0. Okay? But does everybody understand why we have to set them equal to 0?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because that's the only way to multiply two things is to get 0 is for one of the two things to be 0.
Okay.
We don't know which one. Therefore, you have to do both. Okay? Let's try another. Same. Well, two more actually. Again, they've already got it factored for us. We just set both of them equal to 0. So 2x minus 1 equals 0. I add my 1 over. And once you do a bunch of them, I mean, it takes all of 2 seconds. Okay? X equals 1/2. When it's just a simple one like this, you can just say, hey, I know x is going to be what?
3.
Negative 3. Okay? It's not the same thing. Don't say 3 because I'm going to have to mark it wrong. Okay? Don't say that's the same thing. It's not. Would you want me to give you $3 or you want me to take $3 from you? Is that the same thing? No. Okay? All right? So, those are my two answers. If you need to write it down, write it down. Okay? Where you are subtracting 3 from both sides. But just understand, if it's just a x plus 3 or an x minus 5, your answer is going to be the opposite. Everybody good so far? What about part B? Both. They're both. I got to work out both of them. So we're going to have 2x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3 from both sides. Okay? 2x equals negative 3. Divide by 2 on both sides. So x is negative 3 over 2. That's one answer. Then do the 3x minus 1 equal to 0. So that'll be 3x equals positive 1. Divide by 3. X is 1/3. And again, if I stuck this in my calculator and y equals and graphed it, it should cross at negative 3/2 and 1/3. Yes, ma'am?
So I get that not both answers will be a fraction, but will one answer always be a fraction?
Nope. You could have both of them being fractions, none of them being fractions. That has nothing to do with anything. There's no pattern there, if that's what you. But I like that you're looking for patterns. Okay, that just happens to be what we've had so far. All right. Same thing. Example 2. Solve by factoring. You're doing exactly the same thing. They just didn't give you the factors yet. You have to find the factors. Okay. So what are we going to set it equal to first before we start factoring? 0, because to use the zero product property, they have to be multiplied together and equaling what? 0. Okay? A lot of people, I'll see them, they'll like factor, like I'm just going to make this up. X plus 2 and x minus 4 equals 4. And they say, hey, x plus 2 equals 4 and x minus 4 equals 4. And that doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. It only works when it's equal to 0. Has everybody got me on that? Okay, so I'm going to move my 20 over. X squared plus 9x plus 20 equals 0. And now we're going to factor. This is an easy factoring. What two numbers multiplied to be 20 and add up to 9? Plus 4 plus 5. So x is negative 4 and x equals negative 5. Okay? What are these called? What are these called? Factors. What are these called? Solutions. What's another word? Answers. Zeros. Roots or x-intercepts. Okay? All of these are the answers, solutions, factors are up here. Okay? These are not factors. These are roots. Okay? If I gave you the roots, could you get the factor? Yeah, you just go backwards, right? If I said, hey, one of the roots is x plus 6, or excuse me, I said that wrong. One of the roots is x equals 6. So what's the factor? X minus 6. Okay? All right? Now, you don't have to know that. We're getting ahead. All right? But like I said, y'all are smart class. Y'all can handle that. All right. Let's try some here. This one's already set up for us. It's already equal to 0. What two numbers multiply to be 8 and add up to 16? Or, I said 8. Multiply to be 64 and add up to 16. If you have the same factors, are you going to have the same roots or the same zeros? Yeah. Do you have to write them twice? No. Shh. Remember yesterday when we graphed them? Sometimes we got 2 solutions. Sometimes we just got 1 solution. Okay, so this would be a case where we're just getting 1 solution. All right. How about the next one? Move it over. X squared minus 12x minus 64. So what two numbers are going to be multiplied to be negative 64 and add up to negative 12? Since this number's negative, I know my factors have to be one positive, one negative, right? 16 and 4? So which one?
That's right. Negative 16. Negative 4. That's right.
That adds up to negative 12, right? Okay, so we have plus 4, negative 16.
So it's going to be x 16.
Okay?
So your answer is going to be the opposite.
Correct. Everybody good on that?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, let's do a word problem. Woo! Okay. A museum has a museum vault has an outer seal wall with a uniform width of X. The area of the museum vault ceiling and the outer steel wall is 1,664 square feet. What is the width of the outer steel wall? So here's our width. Okay, it is a big vault. Our width is X. So basically, they just want us to solve for what? They just want us to solve for X. So I left the equation here. Okay, if this is 20, right? And here's X and here's X. What's this entire thing?
2x plus
20. 2x plus 20, 20 plus 2x, however you want to think about it. Okay? Same thing this direction. If I got X here, and from here to here is 40, well, the whole thing would be 2x plus 40. So that's where these come from. Okay? I'm going to multiply it out. So that would be what? 4x squared plus 80x. Oops. 80x plus 40x plus, not 80,
800.
800. No x.
And then you just subtract that and then.
What do I need it to equal to 0 to? Or what do I need it to equal? I just gave you the answer. What do I need it to equal to before I can solve it? 0. Okay? So I need to subtract 1664 from both sides. So I have 4x squared plus 120x minus, what is 800 minus 1664? Negative 364? I don't think that's right.
I got negative 864.
864 sounds better.
Maybe it said 8. No.
Okay? Equals
It did say 8.
0. Okay? Now, can we factor this?
Yes.
Yeah, do we have to borrow? Nope, because what can we take out? 4. We can take out a greatest common factor. Okay? So if you take out 4, I'll get x squared plus, I know that's 30x. I'm going to need your help on, actually, no, I don't. What is that?
216.
216? I could have done that.
I couldn't.
Okay? Now, here's the difference, okay? Shh, y'all listen. Here's the difference. Normally, if I was factoring, do I need that 4? Try again.
Yes.
Yes, 4 is a factor. But I don't need the 4 anymore because it doesn't have what with it?
0.
X. Okay, it doesn't have x with it. So I'm going to get rid of it algebraically. I would just divide by 4 and divide by 4. And 0 divided by 4 is still what?
0.
0. So this 4, you don't need it. Now, if the question said factor, and my factors are my answer, then I have to put it. But it doesn't say factor. I'm trying to solve it. Okay? So what two numbers multiply to be negative 216 and add up to be 30? Negative 216, add up to be 30. I know since it's negative, I'm going to have positive and negative numbers. And the bigger number needs to be positive because my 30 is positive. Okay? 18 and 12. He found that really quick. And it should be negative 12, right? Okay? So, plus 18 minus 12. So my final answers will be x is negative 18 and x is positive 12. Okay? And since this is a real life problem, which one of those makes 0 sense for x to be?
Negative 18.
Can the width of that vault be negative 18 inches? Or negative 18 feet? Or negative? No, not in real life. Okay? So my only real answer is 12. Okay? Is that making sense, everybody? Why? That's called an extraneous solution. It means it's just extra. It works mathematically, but it doesn't work in real life. Okay, yes.
You can also do 6 and 36. Negative 6 and 36.
Sorry?
Negative 6 and 36.
What about it?
You could use
You
that.
can use it for that one.
Well, then maybe...
18 and negative 12 don't work.
I was about to say, he gave me the wrong answers then.
Because I just plugged it in and it said make 36. Negative 6 and 36. 18 times negative 12 is
Yeah, negative 6 and 36 would work.
right? But yeah, because that would equal negative 216 and 30 plus 96.
That would equal 6.
30.
No, if you have positive 30 and positive 36.
It's at
Then
18
negative
plus
6. I know.
I know, but I'm saying it equals 6.
We've established that's fine.
I know I wasn't listening. Crazy.
Good job.
Actually, I think
Oh, yeah. Brett,
Good job, Brett.
18 minus 12 is 6, not 30. So, let's try that again. Let's actually pick the right answers. And by the way, guys, when I'm asking for answers and y'all like, oh, it's going to take too long, just look in the book. It's in the book. Just look in the book.
Is it?
Yes, we're just doing the problems out of the book, okay? So, throw me a bone, help me out, okay? So that's not right. Negative 6 and 30 and positive 36. Okay, so 36 minus 6. See, everybody at home watching this is like, man, that guy's an idiot.
Do we have anybody watching?
So this should be negative 36,
Did I learn this today?
positive 6. Okay? So there you go. Now we're good.
Now we're good.
Okay? Just to save time, they do have another one here. I'm going to show you, however, it's a little different this time because notice, what did they give you?
They gave you
Numbers?
They gave you the outside rather than the inside. So now, when you're trying to find this, you're going to say what? 30 minus 2x and then 20 minus 2x. And then you would work it out the same way. Okay? All right? So, let's try one more. Okay. This is the last way. It says, how can you use factoring to graph the function? Now, obviously, you can put that in your calculator. We did it yesterday, okay? But I'm going to show you how to graph it when you have the factors, okay? So, f of x, I'm going to factor it first. What two numbers multiply to be negative 8 and add up to negative 2?
Four negative 2.
Negative 4 and 2.
Yeah, that one.
Negative 4 and positive 2, okay? So, I'm going to make us a table, or excuse me, a graph. I am going to make us a table here in a second.
Beautiful graph.
Thank you. Okay. Anytime we're making these, we're making a table. I taught you to always find which point first. The vertex, okay? When it's given to you in factored form, you're not actually going to find the vertex first. You're actually going to find it last, okay? So here's what's happening. I know my two answers are what and what?
4 and negative 2.
X equals 4, x equals negative 2. And what is y when those x are those? 0. So I know I got 4, 0, and negative 2, 0. Okay? So right now, I know I got one at 4 and one at negative 2, crossing the x-axis. Okay? Where is the x part of my vertex in relation to these 2 points every time? You're thinking, y'all, listen, I'm not asking where is like x-axis, y-axis. I'm just like layman's terms. Where is my vertex in relation to these points? Say it's where? I ain't talking about up or down. It's where? It's in the middle. Okay? So, what is the x part of my vertex? 1. Because 1 is in the middle. You got me? Okay? Now, you can either count or you can just do what with these two numbers? Add them up and then divide by 2. 4 plus negative 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay? Everybody with me so far? Now, when I plug 1 in, I don't get 0. What do I have to do to figure out what I get? No, I just said it.
Plug it in.
Plug it in. You can plug it into the original, or you can plug it into this one. Okay? If I plug in 1, I'm just going to do it to this one. That would be negative 3 times, what, 3? So that would be negative 9. So I know I need to go 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Down here, and there's your
That's a beautiful
parabola.
parabola.
Okay? Does everybody understand how to do that? Now, there's a number out here that's been out there in front of every form that we've done so far. What letter? A. There is an A out there, okay? In this case, A was what? 1. And that A stays the same for the vertex form, the standard form, or this is called the factored form, okay? The intercept form, actually, because we're actually using the intercepts to graph it. Everybody good? Okay? Beautiful. Let's do one more of those. All right, so here it says use factoring to graph the function. Okay, I'm going to factor that out. I'm going to borrow because it's nice and quick. X squared plus 5x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. What two numbers multiply to be negative 6 and add up to 5? Negative 1, positive 6. Okay? Put my, what did I divide by? What I borrow?
The 2.
So divide by 2. Now,
3.
for all of you, listen real close, for all of you borrowers, okay? Normally we move the 2 where? In the front. Don't do that when you're solving it, okay? Because if you move that to the front, you're going to get 2x minus 1, right? And then you're going to equal it to 0. And then you're going to move your 1 over, and then you're going to take your 2 that you just moved and put it back where? On the bottom. Look, I'll show you what I'm talking about. 2x minus 1 equals 0. 2x equals 1. That 2 that I just moved back over here goes right back down to the bottom. So don't do that. My answers are x equals what? Not negative 1/2, but positive 1/2. And this one would be not 3, but negative 3. Is everybody understanding that? You don't have to move it if you're not finding the factors. If you're finding the factors, you have to move it. But if you're just solving it, you don't have to move it. Okay? So I know right now we got 1/2, which they already have right there, and negative 3, which is right there. And then you figure out what's the halfway point between negative 3 and 0.5. So I add them up. Negative 3 plus 0.5 divided by 2. That's negative 2.5 divided by 2. You get negative 1.25. You take that, you plug it in, you get negative 6.25, and there is your vertex. Okay? Your minimum in this case. Could it be a maximum? Absolutely. Okay? Any questions? Everybody good? This last little thing is what we just did. I'm not going to do this. Another one, another one, another one. All right. So, quick review. You got your zero product property. Everybody understands how to do that? Okay? Factoring. Everybody's good factoring? And then graphing, if you need to graph, you can get some graph paper. I'll hand it to you. Otherwise, you got 19 big problems to do. Don't have any homework. Okay? Y'all have a great day at home. See you next time. See you next time and stay above the line. Excuse me.